And we start with the top stories this morning here on Breakfast Central. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu is scheduled to visit Benue State on Wednesday following escalating violence and continued killings in several rural communities. Now, this visit comes amid public outcry over government response or lack thereof towards the worsening security crisis. Let's bring you a visual there from...
Absolutely, from the president as well. But before we take that, let's also tell you that Benue has seen repeated attacks over the last few months with rural farmers and families caught in the crossfire. The president's visit is meant to offer reassurance, but questions loom. Will this be just another stopover or the start of real action? Well, we do have joining us to give the state government's reaction to the outrage and protests that have followed these attacks. The technical advisor on media and strategic communications to the executive governor of Benue State, Mr. Solomon Lorpev, who joins us this morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, and good morning, viewers.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
All right.
Hey, Mr. Solomon, first of all, let's just start by saying that our heart goes out to the community, Yelawate community, and all of the environs surrounding that community. Our heart goes out to them at this time. Just seeing the numbers and, of course, just the heart-wrenching videos that have now proliferated social media. But let's start with an overview of what the state government knows so far about the attacks. Who perpetrated the attacks? Is there official numbers as regard the killings? And what's the next forward? What's the next step forward in rebuilding the lives and the community?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's actually a very sad time for all of us in Benue State. All of us are in mourning. The governor is not happy. Everybody is sad. It's been a very trying moment for us, especially in the past 2 months. What we know so far is there was an attack on the water community about 2 nights ago or so. And so far, the number we have is about 127 have been buried already. 18 are yet to be buried. 2 are in the morgue. They just discovered about 4 bodies yesterday again in the bush. And so the count could still be on. And then we have people who have been burnt completely to ashes that are unidentified. And so this is the situation we have on ground. And we heard that the attackers came somewhere around 10, 11 p.m. of the night. What they did, first of all, was to attack the police station, the police station, the outskirts police station that is there, and then the military post that is close by. They were repelled back a little bit, and then they moved further into the back of the village where they started attacking people very massive. They slaughtered, they killed, they shot at, and the bloodletting was quite massive. It's quite heartbreaking for us here in Benue State.
Very sad indeed. Yesterday, we did see the arrival of security chiefs, and we did also play their videos where they had spoken and talked tough about ensuring that security is back within the state. Can you share with us what the people of Benue State are indeed saying regarding the fact that they wish these security officers or operatives had arrived earlier? And what's their take on the recent statements made by the security operatives? Can you shed more light on this?
Yes, I must admit that the security operatives for now did not meet up to the expectations of the people. I'm talking about the cries of the people and what they're saying. And of course, we also, to a very large extent, will agree with that because certain measures have been put in place to ensure security around the state. Because as you said earlier, this is not the first time we're having this attack. There have been series of attacks all over. And in Yelawate particularly where these attacks took place. It's a town close by the roadside. There is a checkpoint, a military checkpoint, where you have at least about 15 people there in that checkpoint, and then there's a police station, an outskirt police station, where you have at least not less than 5 to 7 officers that are in attendance every other time. So the efforts that were made, we feel were not strong enough. So when these people visited on the instruction of His Excellency, the CDS and the IG of Police, they came with clear instructions from His Excellency to put an end to all of this. And what the CDS said yesterday that was encouraging to us is, well, the strategy that has been used before, if that is not working, of course it's obviously not working, then we should change strategy. And he's coming now with a mindset to change strategy that has been used before, and it's not working. Obviously, it's not working. And so there has to be a rejigging in their thoughts on how to put that forth. The arrangements are such that security is in the hands of the federal government, and security forces are sent to us as every state is allocated officers. And so what we have is inadequate. But when the Chief of Defense Staff came around, he deployed about 3 battalions, 3 units of soldiers, in addition to what is already on ground. And then the IG rather came in with another force. And then the Chief of Defense Staff also came in with another set. And so we are hoping that with the little efforts that are being added to what has been on ground already, things are going to be much better. But I can assure you, I can tell you for a fact, and it's understandable that the people are angry, the people are not happy, and nobody will be. All of us are Benue citizens and we're feeling the heat. We're feeling, it's a sad one. But hopefully, with this visit, things are going to change. And the president has promised to come in on Wednesday. We've had this kind of visit about 7 years ago, but we still are here where we are. We're hoping that this visit is going to cause a total turnaround in things to bring safety back to Benue State. We're the food basket of the nation, for heaven's sake. If we don't put food on the table of Nigerians, what are we going to have in the near future? You know, and so we're hoping that the visits are going to bring a total turnaround in the state for us and for the rest of the middle belt to be at peace.
Well, we saw protests that broke out on Sunday following the attacks in Yelawate community. I want to ask what's the latest with that protest, the demands from the protesters, and what is happening regarding the governor's office as they work in tandem with the security forces.
Yes, they protested basically because of what is happening, and of course, they have a right to do that. Everybody has a right to cry out. And that was their own way of venting out their anger, that nothing has been done about security or is not being done enough. And I can tell you that His Excellency has done exceedingly well. And I'm not praising him because I'm a spokesman. But if you come to Benue State, there are lots of efforts. I think I've spoken on this television before. And I told you what His Excellency had done on his own part, providing about 100.
Okay, we seem to have some. All right.
Motorbikes going to hinterlands to be able to reach out to areas that cannot be reached if vehicles cannot go. And then, in addition to that, operation.
All right, little.
But good enough. And so when they cried out, we heard them. The deputy governor went there on behalf of the governor, spoke with them and told them to come. And the efforts have been made. And they have made a demand that the killings should be stopped. And as the governor gave assurances through the deputy governor, everything is being done. In fact, the governor is more determined than ever before to ensure that this killing, this menace is permanently put to a stop, so that many people can have their peace of mind to go back to their farms and take their place on the food basket of the nation.
All right. I mean, we do understand that the president is looking to visit the state. That will be tomorrow. He did make a statement and talking about clearing his schedule to be there, although that statement has been met with cross-criticism from Nigeria and saying, why would the president say he needs to clear his schedule? I mean, what's more important than a single life of a Nigerian, talk less of over 200 persons, but we'll be delving into that later on. But can you share with us what concrete demands, especially, will the state present to the president, and what do you think is expected from the president upon his arrival tomorrow?
Well, thank you very much. I'm very hopeful that as I said earlier, the visit is going to bring some permanent change to what we already have on ground. But of course, we are hopeful that His Excellency, the President, should be able to, in addition to what is already on ground, give us much more support in terms of security operatives, to give us more backing in terms of relationship between us and, of course, the National Security Office, in terms of information sharing. We're hopeful that when he comes around, he's going to give more directive. You know, as we keep saying over and over again, security in Nigeria is in the hands of the federal government. It doesn't matter what the state does. When you say the state government has security votes and all of that, that is how far directives from the state government can go. But when they come from the national level, they seem to be taken more seriously. There are situations where we have heard that operatives are directed to go somewhere and then they receive another instruction from authority from above saying they shouldn't. And so we're hoping that there'll be clarity of understanding between us and the operatives that are left behind for us to work with us, in addition to what is being brought, so that we're able to handle this thing more headlong. And of course, we're expecting that by the mercies of God, with the instructions and the additions of the security operatives and the cooperation between us and the National Security Office, of course, which is the Office of the National Security Advisor, things are going to be much better for us. All we're looking for is peace. And hopefully we're going to attain that by the mercies of God after the visit of the President.
Now, this has been continued attacks on Benue State and the Middle Belt, but Benue have been hit hard since 2023. In fact, we have a stats that we can just pull up for our viewers to look at the numbers. At this time, the attacks and killings have totaled about over 1,000 from May 2023 up until now, and the problems still persist. Now, the president has called for an end to the killings, but what really and truly would look like an end? What exactly is that end? Do we know the perpetrators of this crime? Do we see a pattern? What is the intelligence that can aid in ending the killings in Benue State?
Yes, we have heard, you know, we have said this, that my governor, His Excellency Reverend Father Dr. Hyacinth Mamalia has said this time and again. If we give you a little background to what is happening, the herders have been around for a while. In those days, before now, when a cow got into the farms of a farmer, there were settlements. There could be disagreements, but there were settlements. And then it came to a period about 14, 15 years ago when these people began to carry herds around with arms, with AK-47s and AK-49s and all of that. And instead of settling the problems they had with farmers, started shooting at them and killing them when there were issues between them. And then it has now graduated to a point where, as my governor says, these people are killing to occupy. Now, the set of people we have now are a bunch of criminals and rogues that carry arms to kill people and displace them. Most of them come in their numbers. You see them on bikes, 200, 300 of them at a time, without cows. They come in arms plenty. They clear out a village. They go back and come back again to the same vicinity to make sure nobody remains there. And what you're having is them occupying these areas after they have done the massacres and the killings. Because out of fear, the people run away and leave their villages. And so what we need, and we hear, this is not happening only in Benue, it's happening across the country. So it's a national problem. And the federal government needs to stand up much more than what it is doing. And thanks to the president, he said he's moving into that to ensure this happens. So if we have the cooperation, we're hoping that things are going to turn around. So we're having marauders, we're having bandits, we're having killers whose aim is to annihilate the whole people, to kill them, to destroy them, and to take over their lands. So it is not what we used to have in those days where we had farmer header clash. This is not a clash. This is not a clash anymore. They're coming to kill our people and take over the land. Because in a clash, you fight me and I fight you. Or in a situation where you come and attack me in my sleep, you come to a vulnerable village and attack them in their sleep and kill them in their numbers, burn their bodies beyond recognition. That is no longer a clash. And so we're calling on the federal government and every securities operatives involved to put in more, like the CDS said, change the technique if it's not working. Bring up another way of working. Because we can ask the people, the governor has not asked anyone to take the laws into their hands. If you ask people to take the laws into their hands and begin to defend themselves, this country is going to become ungovernable. That's not what we want. That's not what we're looking for. We want peace.
All right. Anyway, well, I think you've been able to highlight some of these benefits of having security chiefs and the president who will be coming tomorrow. But I want to say thank you so much. And once again, our condolences goes to the people of Benue State. Thanks for sharing your time with us here on Breakfast Central. Thank you.
I appreciate you for having me. I look forward to talking with you again when things get much better than that.
Absolutely. We look forward to that as well. Well, as we exit our guest group, please join us as we welcome our second guest who will be joining us here, Chief Dennis Bobo. He is the President Association of United Farmers of Benue Valley. Chief Bobo, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. But first of all, more importantly, our sympathies and condolences go out to you and your community at this time, in such a very saddening time indeed. Now, Chief, if you can hear me, we understand that your members, I mean, they've buried loved ones, you know, they've abandoned fields, left their livelihoods, and what they know as, you know, their way of life. What does a presidential intervention will mean? What would it mean to farmers who feel forgotten, especially at this time, as the president prepares to arrive today in Benue State?
We do not have a clear connection there to speak with Chief Dennis Bongo, but just to clarify, we're hoping to talk with him because he's the President Association of United Farmers of Benue Valley. And remember that this clash has also been hinged on headers, farmer, crisis.
Yes.
And it would have been good to have him speak with us. Let's hear from the farmer side.
Yes.
What the problem really is. Who are these headers, or in quotes, these Sicilians? Where do they come from? I just wish we could really speak with them.
Right.
Unfortunately, network doesn't seem to be clear.
As we try to establish connection, also do remember, if you just tuned in, we're speaking to the technical advisor, I beg your pardon, on media and strategic communication to the executive governor of Benue State, and that's Mr. Solomon Lorpev. And he was talking to us about, you know, what they know at this time regarding the attacks in the state. He also did not give us a specific number. It says they're still counting, and up until yesterday, they were still finding more dead corpse in the bushes. Now, we understand that Chief Bongo is back with us. Chief, can you hear me? Chief seems to be having issues with connectivity. Let's switch gears, shall we? Steph, let's bring in our correspondent, Joshua Mari, who has been live in Makurdi, Benue State, giving us all of the in-depth analysis going into the communities there. Joshua, first of all, well done on all of your hard work and giving us all those visuals and speaking to the persons who these attacks have affected. What's the situational report? What do you know at this time regarding everything?
Well, good morning to you, to Judith and Joe. I am live at Makurdi. As you can see behind me is the famous food basket that welcomes you into the city center. Well, I was at the community that was affected by this incident yesterday, and I spoke with many of the residents of that area. They are still reeling from the loss and the tragic incident that unfolded in the late hours of Friday, walking into Saturday morning. Well, it is unfortunate that this particular community has suffered this attack since 2001. They told me from verifiable sources that most of them, they are particularly displaced persons from other parts of the state here, and they had to find their way to Yelwata community to settle down. Most of them, who are farmers, have suffered this great loss, as most of their products and produce from the farm, they've been consumed. I spoke to a man who lost millions of naira. He even told me that one of the reasons they don't have yams in Benue State is as a result of this farmer header clashes. So I got to intimate the man, and he told me that the persons who are responsible for this attack are herdsmen, particularly mentioned Fulani herdsmen. I questioned him further if he was sure that those particular persons, as alleged, are the ones perpetrating this disastrous act and distasteful act in that community. And he told me yes, that they spoke in a particular dialect when they attacked, and the way they attack in a coordinated form. Now this raises another question to Nigeria's intelligence, and as to how this intelligence is being treated, and how these persons who are fond of perpetrating this evil act are being met with the particular hands of the law. Well, he went further to tell me that they came in a tactical manner, and they swept into that community in droves while they attacked on one front, and the policemen who were overpowered, they were defending. Some others went behind the community in a surprise attack and ambushed them, and they started targeting specific houses where they were produce, targeting specific houses where there were humans hiding. It is unfortunate that these persons were left to the mercy of their own fate, and it is disastrous, because getting into that community, I could see some of the dead bodies roasted beyond recognition, burnt beyond recognition. They are now barely recognizable. What you see are bones that's transformed into ashes. It is distasteful. That's one thing I know.
I agree with you. I mean, that's a lot to deal with, especially when you are, you have to do your job in the line of work. But the president has said that he's coming. That news has filtered amongst the communities, and everyone has heard, having seen the security operatives as well yesterday. Can you tell us if this has given the residents or the communities some sense of hope? And what has the news that the president will be coming tomorrow done to the Benue community, especially Yelwata?
Well, the first thing I must tell you is that there is heavy security presence in Yelwata as we currently speak. Soldiers, tactical policemen, they've been deployed across several strategic areas of that community. But notwithstanding, there seems to be a deficit between our officers and the community members. I was previous to some kind of discussion, because yesterday they met at the parish priest's house, the parish priest in that area, and there was some conversation between the chief of defense staff and the community members, and they told him vehemently that they don't trust them. It was a shock hearing that to me. You don't trust the soldiers, you don't trust the Nigerian army, and they gave their reasons. And most times these persons are being aided and abetted by the security forces on ground. Well, it is no news that security men have taken over the area, and they are expecting the president to come in on Wednesday. Well, they are hopeful that the security presence will mean a lot, and maybe scare away some of the predators who are camping in that community. But still, I can confirm to you that some of them are beginning to pack their loads and leave that community. There's still this sense of palpable fear hanging over their heads, that if they don't move, that the worst might happen. It shows you the distrust and the trust deficiency between Nigerians and the security forces. Well, the CD has pledged that he was going to do everything in his might and power to ensure that this trust deficiency is actually erased. Also, the IGP also pledged him. We are expecting that if the president comes, he's coming alongside the service chiefs to address this situation headlong.
Address it indeed. Joshua, I must say, I mean, I know you spoke to farmers, but what about the women and children, those whose fathers and husbands were attacked and they have died in this attacks as well. Has there been any sort of provision in terms of, those who have been displaced or, materials, sanitary materials provided to them to just provide circa at this time?
Well, I can confirm to you that nothing has reached those people's hands. Well, I spoke to them, I questioned them further that, where are you staying particularly? And they told me they've had to take shelter in primary schools, the Catholic Church, and perhaps even the police station. Now the police station, the police officers in that particular area are those extending a hand of benevolence to those ones, allowing them to sleep in the station. The parish priest too, in his own benevolence, is allowing them to take refuge in the parish in that area, as well as the primary school in that area too. But how long can this continue? Now, these questions are another approach to humanitarian response by the government. We all know that these things have been budgeted for. We all know there are appropriations for these things, and we all know that money has been sent out for these things. Well, we shouldn't wait till when the disaster catches us up in our sleep, but we should be proactive. It is more or less they are now reactive. This has been the question so far, that what is the response mechanism of the government, of appropriate authorities to disaster? It has been nothing to write home about, and it has been distasteful. So we are hoping that sooner or later these people get succor that they truly need. But in terms of humanitarian response, well, they don't have a pass mark on that.
All right, Joshua Mai, thank you so much for the updates, and we look forward to join you. Hopefully, better still, you would join us and give us more updates as we count down to the president's arrival tomorrow and what's really happening on ground, especially on foot, for the security operatives. Thanks for your time, and do well to stay safe as usual.
Many thanks to Joshua Mai there. Now, following the gruesome attack on the Yelawate community in Goma local government area of Benue State, where suspected gunmen stormed the village, killing over 100 residents, now burning homes and food stocks, and also plunging the region into the crisis. The state governor, Hyacinth Aliya, the Inspector General of Police, Kaide Betokun, and Chief of Defense Staff, and that's Christopher Musa, have visited the community, vowing to deploy end to the attacks on innocent communities. They say that they will deploy fresh strategies which will improve security in the area.